page right now. Is that what you wanted?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So Julie is running the PowerPoint. You should see people over on this side. Do you see that at all?
No, I just see you. Well, there's somebody.
Every once in a while.
Yeah. Do you see the PowerPoint?
No.
Yes.
I think the PowerPoint is behind the sponsor page or something, isn't it?
Well, the sponsor page is the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Oh, then I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see that, and I see one person, whoever is speaking, I see, but I don't see a group.
If you want to see a group where you see the one person, if you scroll your mouse and go to the top, and there's 4 different ways that you could go to. If you click the 4th one to the right, then you'll see 6 photos, and there even is a way to arrow to the right at the bottom of the 6th picture, if that is helpful.
Oh, I see that now.
That sounds complicated.
Yeah.
It's okay, Lois. All right, it is 10:01, so we're gonna get started, and it looks like we are live on Facebook. So if you are on Facebook, or if you're a Facebooker or a YouTuber, you can sign on that way and share the video, host a watch party. And if you are on those outlets and you have questions, type them in, and I'm watching the comments box, and I'll get to your questions for our panelists. So there's some more people letting a few more people in here. Okay, yeah, so what you see on your screen probably is the sponsorship page. And if you don't know where you are, I know it's early on Thursday. I always say this when we're live. This is the Indy Senior Living series. We're ending our 4th year. This is the last event of year 4. We've already, Julie and I have already started planning a ton for 2021. So stay tuned for that. We offer these panels free to our audience, and there is a cost to it. And these sponsors help to keep it free. We're going to go through and let everyone introduce themselves quickly. And then we've got 2 sort of featured sponsors. We started doing that when we went to Zoom. Since we aren't in person, it does make it a little bit, a little bit of floor time. And so I'm going to start. I know I see several here, so I'm just going to go around the screen here. And when they talk, you should be able to see their faces pop up there. So I'll start with Jeff. I know he's here. Jeff Stinson. Go ahead, buddy.
Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, everyone. I'm Jeff Stinson of the Stinson Law Firm. I have a elder and special needs practice in the northern area of Indianapolis, where I basically help seniors gather and afford long-term care without being completely impoverished, usually doing that through access to the Medicaid or VA pension program. Good to meet everyone. Good morning.
Hey. Okay, I know Laura's here for Westminster Village.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Hi, everybody. I'm Laura Roman. I'm the Director of Marketing at Westminster Village North, and we are a continuing care retirement community located on the northeast side of Indianapolis. We have homes, apartments for independent living, assisted living, skilled nursing, as well as memory care. So as someone might be thinking about downsizing, we could be your home for the rest of your life. This time with COVID is a difficult time for us, but I am able to do some tours, and I have some virtual tours that I would be happy to send. If anybody is interested in seeing anything, feel free to give me a call. Thank you.
Awesome. I'm going to skip to Sarah McCord with Bright Star Care.
Good morning. I am Sarah McCord with Bright Star Home Care. We are your in-home care provider. We come into the home and help you with those daily living tasks that become a little more challenging as we age. And our goal is to keep you comfortable and safe at home.
Awesome. Okay, I was just checking on Sycamore Reserve. So while they are getting set up, go to Lisa and Dave with assisted living locators.
Thanks, Lisa. Happy December, everybody. I'm Lisa Curris with Assisted Living Locators, and both Dave and I own our own franchises. He's on the north side of Indianapolis, and I'm on the south side, and we cover a pretty broad territory, and our goal is really to help families that are dealing with the overwhelming process of identifying the best senior living options for their parents. So we have a very customized and personalized process to walk through what are the best options in terms of finances and medical conditions and geography, and then narrow down those choices. And we just really love working with seniors and helping them through that. And I'll toss it over to you, Dave.
Just say good morning, everyone. Thanks, Lisa, and thanks, Lisa. Great to be here.
Awesome. Okay, if you see me like looking all around, it's because there's a lot going on over here behind my screen. I've got people that I'm letting in from the waiting room and people messaging me in Facebook Live and YouTube and chat boxes and everything. So I'm really listening and paying attention, but I'm also doing like a million other things over here. Okay, so we have two featured, wait, did I forget anybody besides Seniors Guide and Folklore Productions? I don't see anybody else, so just yell out if I missed you. I don't think anyone else is on here. Maybe Tiffany.
Marquette's here.
Oh, great. Awesome. I'm so glad you guys made it. I didn't know if you were going to. Go ahead.
Yes. To see myself. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm parked in a parking lot. I'm Tiffany Camden. I'm the clinical liaison at Marquette. Marquette, we are a full retirement community, and we offer independent living, assisted living, and health center services for seniors on the northwest side of Indy.
Awesome. Oh, I see you, Tiffany. Good. I was like browsing through all the names and everything. Awesome. I'm glad you made it.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. More people are coming in. Okay, so I'm going to flip it over. Julie, if you want to go on to the next screen, I will let Stacy Kane is here with Seniors Guide.
Hi.
Oh, are we going to do housekeeping first? I'm sorry. Housekeeping first. I know somebody called in, so I'll take care of this first. So we started with your mics and your cameras off. If you did call in, which is an option, and you have a question, you'll just hit *6 on your phone, and that will indicate to me that you have your hand raised and something to say. We do have this, even though this is our last Indy Senior Living series event for 2021, we have another event tomorrow, which is actually a bus tour of Marquette. So I'm glad that she's here. We did a run through last week, so I think that's going to be awesome. And I'm going to put the link in the chat box for you to RSVP to that if you haven't already. And then we've already started planning for 2021 Indy Senior Living Series, and the first event is January 14th. And we have some really, really super smart, way smarter than me speakers to talk about how to survive a pandemic. So I tried to get some timely topics for next year, and I'm really excited about what we came up with and speakers. So you don't want to miss that. You can go to downsizingindy.com to RSVP, or just call that Google number. I don't think it's on here, but it's on a later screen to RSVP. Our sponsors, we introduced a few of them, and we're going to do 2 feature sponsors in just a second. And then also, last but certainly not least, we do give away prizes even though we're on Zoom. I'm going to post the link to register for that prize over in the chat box. If you've called in, don't fear. I will call you and get you registered to win as well. I'm Lisa Treadwell. I'm the host of this event and the owner of the Indy Real Estate Experts at Century 21 Sheets and Downsizing Indy. We specialize in helping seniors downsize. And that's it for that part. Next slide, Julie. There you go. All right. Now, Stacy, I just got out of order.
Oh, no. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Make sure I'm not muted. I am Stacy. I'm a multimedia executive with Seniors Guide. The mission of Seniors Guide is to provide resources to educate and empower seniors and their families when it comes to making decisions with senior housing options, healthcare, products, services. We do all that through our website, seniorsguide.com, and we showcase many, many senior communities, home care companies, other products and services. We've even started showcasing things like entertainment venues. So that is the products and services are widening, and we're widening our horizons to bring all that to you. We also have a vibrant collection of articles and valuable information and even fun things like recipes on seniorsguide.com. So it's a fun place to go and explore. We also, as many of you know, have a magazine that distributes all over Indianapolis and the surrounding counties, as well as digital services where we share information that is sent to cell phones, laptops, and computers. So that's our job, is to provide information on what's available to seniors and their families. And we love doing it.
Awesome, Stacy. Thanks. And I actually really like your magazine. In there and recipes as well. So
thank you.
I just saw one the other night. I was eating and saw some Stack Seniors guides there. So nice.
Wonderful.
Okay, and next is Folklore Productions. Misty started with us at the beginning of the year when we started putting these events on video, and she hasn't been able to video in person because we've been doing Zoom. So I'm gonna let you introduce yourself and go ahead.
Misty Fons, Folklore Productions, as Lisa said. I create legacy videos for seniors. So a legacy video, if you're not familiar with it, is a gift that you leave to your family. It tells your story of where you've come from, where you've been, how you got through it all, leaves any messages that you want your family to remember, wisdom that you want to pass down, anything that goes along with your journey through your life. It's a really simple and fun process. I come to your house, walk you through an interview, we collect family photos, and then I go and edit it together into a 30-minute video that you're able to easily share with family and friends. I just want to say I'm excited to see Lois here today because I was able to do a video for her. So hi, Lois. It's really nice to see you. Yeah, so if I think everyone I've met there's always one person in your life that you wish you had a recording of them talking about their lives and, you know, hearing that they love and care about you and wisdom that they have to pass down. So everyone I meet has at least one person that they think of whenever I tell them about my business. So you might be the person that they're thinking of. It'd be great if you want to reach out and we can talk about putting a video together about your life.
That's awesome. Yeah, Misty did a video for Lois and it turned out really, really well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going through here one more time. Oh yeah, somebody put in the comments, mute everyone. That's actually what I was going through here and doing. Some of you may have unmuted yourselves and I'm just muting you so there's not a ton of background noise. So if you do want to talk, you are most likely muted. So just like raise your hand, which you can do kind of over in the chat box. There's some quick links there. Or you can type something in the chat box either to everyone or just to one person privately. If you're on your phone, you can hit *6 on your phone, and that will alert me that you have a question. So I was just looking through here. I see some new faces. I see some people who are on here every month, and I miss you guys. I know it's not ideal to be on Zoom, but it is fun to see everybody. So now I'm going to go ahead and hit the record button so that we can post this live on our website after this. So just so everyone's aware, we're on Facebook, YouTube, and we're streaming live there right now. And then I'm just going to hit the record button right now, and we're going to get started with our featured panelist. Okay, there we go. Yeah, Julie, that's great. So I already introduced myself. I've seen most of you for 4 years now, which is great. And I'm going to let Laura Roman actually introduce Lois, because Lois lives in Laura's community. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I feel really honored to be able to introduce Lois. Lois has been a very vibrant part of our community for a couple of years now. She gave thought to coming to us for a period of time until, as she said to me, she just said, it's time, I've got to do this. And I think that's when she was working with Lisa. And so this presentation is really kind of going to tell Lois's story, I think. But Lois actually, as a matter of fact, her apartment is 2 floors above my office. So everybody meet Lois Dillon.
Hi, everybody. I'm glad to meet you. It's been my privilege to live here at Westminster Village North. I lived alone for several years, probably about 8 years, when I decided that my big house was just too much for me, and the yard was more than I could take care of, and I decided it was time to make a change. And I called my daughter and said, what would you think if I went to Westminster? And she says, Mom, you've been wanting to do it for a long time. Go. So I called out there and I talked to, I think I talked to Margaret, is who I had talked to, and came out and they showed me around, and I already kind of knew my way around. I had several friends that were already living there, so I knew a little bit already, but she took me around and showed me several apartments, and I picked out this one on the corner of the 3rd floor, kind of in between the 2 elevators. So I'm sort of halfway between getting all my exercise. And I heard about a meeting out here that Lisa Treadwell was a part of about downsizing and moving into senior communities. And I asked Lisa if she would come to my house and talk to me, and that's how I got acquainted with Elisa.
Good, that's great, Lois. So leading up to it, you said, just the yard work and probably maintenance of your house and whatnot. What other types of things were you experiencing or feeling that sort of helped you make the final decision that you were going to downsize into something lower maintenance?
Well, my age was another thing. I was getting to the point where I needed to have somebody around. I'm perfectly capable of doing things. I still drive, but I'm 93 years old, so I decided it was time to find a place where I would be looked after if I needed it. My daughter lives in Washington, D.C., and so I didn't have anybody close here to help me in an emergency.
Yeah, so your daughter and granddaughter are in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
Another thing I heard you say too was that you had a couple of friends in the community already.
Oh, yes.
So you were getting acquainted with the community for a while then?
Yes, yes. I've been coming out here to visit and have dinner for several years before I came. And there's 14 members of my church congregation that belong to or live in this community. So I have a good family right here.
Well, that's great. That's actually a lot. I didn't realize you had that many people that you knew that lived in the community. So I'm sure that helped make your decision.
Well, made the transition a lot easier. I didn't feel like a stranger.
Good. Yeah, and that's something we're going to talk about too. Kind of like being the new kid in school sometimes when you move in to when you move out of your neighborhood and into another one. I'm going to get back to your story in just a minute, but I want to introduce a couple of other great sponsors we have, and maybe my biggest cheerleaders to date, Nancy and Jerry Brook. They downsized in this past year, and I'll let them tell their story. But I have two very different scenarios here on purpose because, we talk a lot about, people want specifics about things when it comes to downsizing, and it's really hard to say without an in-person consultation because everyone's situation is different. And this is a prime example. Lois moved into Westminster Village, and Nancy and Jerry Brook did something completely different. And so I'll let you guys start your story, just like we talked about last night. Now, Jerry, you have to behave yourself.
All right, I'll start then, try to get it out of the way. We can give a shout out to Westminster because Nancy's father was in memory care there for about 4.5 years and passed away in November of 2016. And then her mother passed in 2017.
Yeah. Hey.
And that made our lives change because we had been caretakers for a long time, and we had a condominium that we lived close to their condominium, and then we inherited their condominium. So we had two full houses or places that were full of stuff and wanted to make changes in our lives. So there was a point at which Nancy saw in a paper star, I think it was, that Lisa was having a thing at St. Luke's. And we went to that, and we were excited about it because it seemed to fit our needs for moving ahead because we had way too much stuff to deal with. And so we did that, and I think I'll just turn it over to Nancy and let her tell the particulars of that. But we're just really happy with how that turned out. But was it July of 2019 was when we met Lisa, and then from there we purchased a house August the 2nd, or a condominium, and still had 2 condominiums to sell. So I'll let her take it from here.
And I'll turn it back to Lisa because that's our introduction.
Oh, look at you guys. You're like old pros over there. Well, I wanted to ask you, leading up to that, we did talk about yesterday, we talked about Westminster Village because I had some family members there too. Like going through that process, how were you feeling and what sorts of things led you to the decision that you needed to make a change? Because where you were, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it worked, right? You could have just sold on the condo that you inherited and stayed where you were, right?
Well, I think it took a while to get to the point, but we realized that we were ready to make a change, do something different where taking care of people didn't make our decisions, that we were able to make our own decisions now. And we did live in my parents' condo for a while and think we'll get the other one ready to go. And then I just realized it was just too hard to live in their condo. And we needed to buy something that was our home first instead of something we inherited. And so that's when I saw the seminar notice in the paper and thought, well, that's exactly what we need. And we went and found, and listening to all the questions and listening to your panel. And 2 weeks later, we met you, and that started the whole thing.
You sent me an interesting text today. Something that
I thought you'd like to see that.
Yeah, well, we track that and we tell people that, but it was just interesting that you put that all together. So you want to share that with the group?
Well, what I did, just for curiosity, because we've obviously stayed in contact with Lisa after our sale. That's the understatement. And from July 11th was the first seminar, and July 26th, we met with Lisa in our house, and she went over our plan and what we could do and how it would work and what to get ready for and how to prepare. And then August the 1st, we met the crew. August the 2nd, we bought our condo, our new home, and still had 2 to get rid of. And over the next 12 weeks, we downsized and sold 2 condos and found our condo and moved into it and closed on it. So the math is that was only 3 months to do that. So there's no way we could have done that without your help.
Yeah. So you moved out of 2 and into 1 in, just under like 3 months. So the normal cycle for somebody, this is just based on what we've tracked. And Julie is on here. She was running the PowerPoint. She loves spreadsheets and tracking stuff. And so she's going to geek out on some numbers here for a minute. It's typically what we were noticing between like when we would first meet with somebody to when they finally were like mentally ready to do the downsizing and or decluttering if they were aging in their house. It's like a year to 3 years, sometimes 3 years. And I know Laura and Tiffany can vouch for this. I'm sure you guys are talking with potential residents for upwards of a year or more. And what happens in that time is, people are living in maybe a house that isn't safe for them anymore. There could be trip hazards. I met with a lady one time and I went back over to talk more details, and she had a step stool in the middle of her kitchen. And I was like, what is that doing there? She's like, this is how I reach my cabinets, and I'm like, and she had area rugs everywhere. And before you know it, that particular instance, it went from being a nice, like pretty calm, downsize to an emergency situation. And we just don't want that. I think everyone on here, the sponsors I can speak for all of us when I say that we truly have a heart for this area where we work and specialize in helping this group of people. And we see a lot, and we want to keep you guys safe. So, okay, anything more about leading up to the process that you want to add, or do we want to jump back to Lois? Or also, I can also open it up for questions.
I think just one more thing that I can think of is that I think we had to realize the amount of overwhelm and exhaustion and frustration, and that just makes you stuck to do anything or to make any kind of improvement. And once we realized that, we just figured out that we were ready to, that's why we were getting the help, is because we needed the help, and that helped unstuck us.
Yeah, and it was very, it almost like was a gift of before us that it all happened the way it did.
Yeah.
And so we went with that as far as knowing that it was the right thing to do, and didn't really have any anxiety about whether we making right decisions or not. And it all was great.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're on the phone, *6 to raise your hand and alert me that you have a question. If you're online on Facebook or YouTube, type in your questions in the comment boxes. We have Nancy and Jerry Brook and Lois still in here talking about their downsizing experience. So I want to get back to checking. Oh yes, Laura, go ahead.
I just would like to endorse what everybody is saying here, because I'm sure I can speak for Tiffany as well from Marquette. What we see when people come in and they have that notion that they want to make a move, but they feel paralyzed by being overwhelmed with what they face. And so time goes by and more time goes by. And, you know, what you described in terms of somebody's health needs changing, suddenly a lot of the choices taken from them if you wait too long. And I can tell you many stories. They're heartbreaking stories where somebody's idea was right. You know, I think that I need to do this. I think it's the time to do it, but I've got all this stuff that I have to deal with. And, you know, that is absolutely the beautiful service that you offer, is kind of helping somebody through that, Lisa. It's very valuable. I just wanted to endorse that whole thought.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it happens to all of us. When we have a big project or lots of moving pieces, it's natural to be overwhelmed, to feel overwhelmed and not know where to start. I can tell you that since March, since my 15 and 11-year-old have been home doing school, the amount of overwhelm that I experience on a daily basis is paralyzing. You know, sometimes, some days I don't know which way is up, and you know, we're on each other's nerves. I know I'm on their nerves, and they're definitely on my nerves. You know, but it feels like, and I've heard a lot of people say this, you know, we're stuck at home. We should have all this free time, but we don't. What in the world has happened? Well, I think what's happened is we're not as productive because we are feeling more overwhelmed and we don't know where to start. That could be a piece of it. And so it's the same concept when you are facing a move, and not just a downsize, any kind of move. The task feels daunting and you don't know where to start, right? So together as a team, Lois and I and Nancy and Jerry and our team, we came up with a plan and then we implemented the plan. So speaking of which, Lois, I'll get back to you.
Okay.
When you finally decided, I'm doing this, you talked to your daughter in Washington, DC. How did the process go for you?
Oh, it was absolutely fantastic. I called you and then you come by. We looked at my house and decided what it could be worth, and you offered the services of helping me pack, help me sort through my things. I'd lived in that house for 50 years. I'd accumulated a lot of stuff. And you know, as long as you've got room to put someplace, you put it, you don't get rid of it. But now it was time to get rid of it because I was moving to a 1-bedroom apartment and I didn't want to take more than I needed.
Isn't that the truth? As long as you have room to put it, you put it.
Yeah.
And you lived in your house how many years, Lois?
50 years. 50 years I've been there.
That
out of the bunch. But
yeah,
your people came in and helped me go through my stuff, and then they came back another day and they packed. The movers came and packed, and they told me when they left the house, said, you come out to Westminster about 5 o'clock and you'll be all moved in. And believe me, I was. Pictures were hung on the wall. There wasn't a box any place. You just thought I'd lived there forever.
Oh, that's awesome. I get cold chills just, that's like my favorite part.
Can't imagine what it must be like for somebody who doesn't have help. I had a couple of friends that came in and helped me go through things, and some of my in-laws that live around here came and took some things, but there was a lot left. And you either you took a lot of stuff to who?
We donated some things and we sold some things through Christie's
That's
auction.
what I was trying to think of. The auction. Yeah. They sold a good bit of quite a few things for me. And then, like you say, you donated, and then I'm sure you trashed a lot of stuff, which is fine. I don't think I left, there's a few things I left behind I think of now, but I've lived this long without them, so I guess it's all right.
Well, how long has it been? What did Laura say? Like,
well, I've been out here just 2 years in September. And I was just, I called you, I think the end of July or the 1st of August, that I moved in here on, I think the 17th of September. So yeah. I was only a couple of months.
Yeah, yours went pretty quickly too.
And fortunately, you sold my house very quickly after I moved out. And we made a pretty good deal on that.
You did.
I felt like I was satisfied. I don't know whether it was a great deal or not, but I was satisfied. And that's what's important. As long as your customer is happy, that's all that matters.
That is very true, Lois. And that's what we aim to do every time, is to make our clients happy and feel comfortable with the process. And when you are able to open your plate, and your apartment is beautiful, by the way, the ladies that hung the photos, and
oh my gosh,
yeah, and
they did a fabulous job. They really did. I love it here. I made a good decision when I came here.
I want to check real quick on people who may have questions. There are a couple of people who, I don't know why I'm not able to mute. So if you look at your screen and you see you're not muted, because we had some background noise and I just want to make sure everybody can hear. Can you just check and make sure that you're muted? But if you do have a question, by all means, unmute yourself and just shout it out, or raise your hand, or type it in the chat box over on the side. And also, a couple of sponsors are old pros, and they already put their contact information over on the group chat. So if you are a sponsor and you're here and you haven't done that, go ahead and type your information there, because this is being recorded. It's live on Facebook and on YouTube, and we've got some viewers there. If you are on Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and type and you have questions, type them in the comments and we can ask them here live. If you're on your phone, *6 for questions. What else? I think that's it. Okay. Anybody have questions or comments that you want to make? Any burning? Nothing is a silly question, and this is a safe group. I don't think Lois or Nancy bite. Jerry might bite, but I'm picking on you, Jerry.
I know.
But it's not fatal.
It's not fatal. So while I'm checking, question for Lois. Here we go. This is a good one. Thanks for asking. What activities do you like in particular at Westminster Village? And this is a burning question. I'm sure lots of people want to know. How is the food?
Really pretty good. And right now they bring our food to our rooms. We're not eating in the dining room, which we all miss, but we understand, I think. Right now, of course, there are no activities, or very few. But when things are normal, I play euchre a couple of evenings a week. There's there's a book club, Bible study group. We have Worth that is our resident pastor, and he has Sunday services as well as some things during the week. There's a poker group, I belong to the resident council, which has not been able to meet very much, but we do have met a few times since I've been elected. And I work part-time, so I don't get to, I volunteer at church. And so I don't get into all the activities, but there are several things. And we have a friendly group of people. When things are normal, we meet in each other's room and have fellowship that way. Lori Wilson, our entertainment, I forget what her title is. Anyway, she plans tours, trips for us. They have some bus trips. They take us to theater. We go to Civic and Mud Creek, a couple of little local theaters around here that they take us to. Once a month they have a ladies' luncheon, and once a month they have a men's luncheon. And sometimes they tell us where they're taking us, and sometimes they're mystery luncheons.
That's great. I'm gonna, when everything opens back up and we're allowed to come in, I'm coming. You're gonna have to get me in on one of those euchre tournaments.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, and Nancy and Jerry, they moved into a condo community on the north side of town, northwest-ish. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the things that you like about your community? Did you tell me that you already got active on the HOA, or it's your neighbor or something?
It was our neighbor, and they asked us if we wanted to, and we hadn't really been here that long, so we wanted to get to know the place. And then things started shutting down, so it turned into different how they do that. So that could be in our future, but it's not right now.
I had been the treasurer of Maple Creek Commons, where we were in the beginning. And after, 6-7 years, I think it was, when I moved, then I was ready not to do anything for a while.
Nice. You were just ready to relax in that hot tub that you got rid of. We never did talk about when you got rid of the hot tub.
It was getting old, so we thought it was better.
Basically, Nancy wasn't going to use it.
Yeah.
And I didn't use it very often. And it used so much energy to keep going that both maintenance and electricity and all that when we had it taken out, the electric bill went down dramatically.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
So anyway, we're not doing anything
before
to replace it.
Before things sort of shut down, what sorts of activities were you able to get involved in the short time that you?
Well, really, we got to just start meeting some neighbors, and I did start going to, the ladies were getting together once a month for lunch. And so we got to do a couple of those, and then things, changed that. But the one thing that really we like the most about moving to some place like this is a little bit older community. So there's a lot of really big, beautiful trees all around. And it looks like, the way it's laid out, it almost looks like a small city park. So you can get a lot of just walking around the streets in a little unit. So that makes it really nice. And we get to see, animals and birds and all kinds of stuff. And a lot of the units have really big windows. Our living room has 4 windows that are probably 5 feet by 7 feet. And for me, that was really nice because I miss being able to see out and look out in our other condo. We have like one window in each room.
Oh yeah, that is true. So you probably have a much better view now.
Yeah.
Particularly sunroom and
Yeah, we have
And we have like 30.
overlook the lake, one of the lakes in Homestead Lakes, which is probably a retention pond.
But it's a really pretty water with fountains, you
Yeah.
know.
So anyway, there's several of those around, and just a really nice neighborhood. They keep things really well and tidy, and we're used to
And just like-
condominium living, so it's not like, well, they're making us do something again.
yes.
And it's just like Lois said, we don't have any outside maintenance. So, you know, they do, you know, all, getting rid of leaves and snow and sidewalks and mowing and trimming. And
Yeah, all that.
that's real great.
There's
So-
certain things.
You said something there that was interesting. You said kind of like you can get as involved as you want to, or you could say to yourself, but I think Lois and Nancy and Jerry, you guys are all pretty social people, I'd say. So it probably wasn't too hard for you guys to sort of get right in there.
No, and the other nice thing is we have a lot of neighbors that walk dogs. So you can always hi and meet when you're doing that or when you're going to the mailboxes. And we do have a lot of neighbors that are still working, either part-time or getting closer to retirement. So our next door neighbor still teaches at Brebeuf. So, you know, it's just really nice that you always see people coming and going, you know.
And, you know, somebody's always walking and, you know,
waving
if
and
you're
stuff.
out. But we haven't met as many people because of what happened with COVID. So, and we just are not out there. And
But the funny thing, people drive around and everybody waves from their cars. So it's kind of, people are trying.
Yeah.
we just, everything is,
you just have to adapt.
Since we were used to condominium living and the rules and regulations of each place, it's sort of like we found this place, even though the fees may have been higher than what we were used to before, they do, you know, take care of us. So.
And another thing about condo living that you get your homeowners association rules, you know, when you close or as you're looking, so you can read those and see if you don't like those limitations, then you don't need to look there.
That's a good point. Yes, a purchase agreement. So the Brooks,
because that's what makes that's what makes it sell, I think, so well, because they all look well kept and look the same and look nice, and you know that going in what you can and can't do.
Right, and your purchase agreement is contingent on reviewing those association documents and agreeing or not agreeing to them. So that's a good point. I don't think I've ever had anybody like back out of a real estate transaction because of something that they disagreed on the HOA, but it is nice to have that in there. So I have two kind of things I wanted to talk about, and I'm checking again for questions. Raise your hand or you unmute yourself and holler out, or type a message in the chat box, or *6 on your phone. The one thing I wanted to talk about, I want to talk about what you did with all your stuff and how you decided what was coming with you. And then I want to talk about money, because I know a lot of people are wondering about that and maybe they don't want to ask, although this isn't a super shy audience, I don't think. But let's talk about, Lois, we'll go with you first, because you moved into a pretty significantly smaller space.
Yes.
So you really had to go through and figure out what you wanted to bring with you. And so how was that process for you?
Okay, your people came and looked at my apartment, and then they came back to me and said, what do you want to take with you? And I picked out the things that I wanted, and they helped me decide where they should be put in the apartment and if they would fit. They fit a desk in that I didn't think I'd be able to bring with me. That was my grandmother's desk, and I kind of wanted to keep, but they found a place for it, and sure enough, there's plenty of room.
I remember
Uh,
that.
I was able to place my furniture so that I made my dining room kind of separate from my living room. They had everything placed very properly when I got here, and they knew what I wanted to bring, and they helped me decide what would fit and what wouldn't.
Yeah, and I think the common theme between both of, or all three of you, is that you all had a wonderful attitude when it came to this process. And that, you know, obviously is a great help. But I do remember that desk, Lois. And another thing that I think you guys all have in common is that you moved into your new place first, and then we went back to sell your old places. And while that is the ideal process, it isn't always the case. It's ideal because for several reasons, because you get to really focus on the things that you want to take with you, which in most cases is a lot less than what you're leaving behind, because you're moving in some cases a smaller space. Not everybody is, but you know, so there isn't, you know, there's less that you're taking with you. But we don't want to accidentally get rid of something that, you know, you wanted to keep. And so if we focus on the things that you're taking with you and we get those items moved and we get you settled in, there's more of a chance that you'll get all that you wanted. We'll make sure that we don't have a moving truck full of stuff that doesn't fit into your new place sitting outside, you know, costing everyone money. And you get settled in there, and then we can go back and focus on getting the house ready to sell if we're doing that, and liquidating the stuff inside of it. So most importantly is you, and getting you settled in and you comfortable with what you've brought. And some people do bring too much, and even though it fits into their place, maybe they feel like it's too crowded, and you know, we can make adjustments that way. But yeah, your space it turned out really, really beautiful, Lois. And I remember that desk that they didn't think they could fit in there, but you know, we take measurements, we measure furniture, we measure walls, we look at where windows and doors are, and we take all of that into account. So it's a big, you know, process, and we try to be very intentional about, you know, how we're going through that.
Well, after she was out here and then measured, she had little, I don't know what you'd call them, little round circles and straight lines that represented a certain size. And we placed on a little map that she'd drawn, or a graph she'd drawn, we placed all the furniture, so I knew exactly what it was going to look like and how it was going to fit when I came.
Yeah.
And that was helpful.
So you were involved in the process. It wasn't just something that happened.
Oh yeah.
Involved, right?
Yeah, I knew what was taking place all the time.
That's great. Okay, now to the Brooks. You also tell us like how that process went, how you guys decided, you know, what you were going to take and what we were going to liquidate.
Well, I think the big thing that made decisions for us too was a lot of mom and dad's furniture we still had in their condo, and that's what we were living with. So we knew there were some things that were going to be either too heavy or just not our style. And so, like you said, it was nice that we could pick what we wanted to be sure that that got moved, you know, as the first choice. And then you could always go back and take one more thing if you really forgot about it. It's not like it was carved in stone that you would never see it again if you forgot something. But I think it just worked real well that we thought about, okay, do we want to take some of this older furniture, or do we want to just donate it and get something newer that fits the space? So that was a big help.
Yeah, a lot of people do end up doing that. They're making this big move and they just say, you know, I'm just going to get new furniture. I see a question. Is that Callus? Hi. Okay, I'm unmuting you. Hang on. I'm trying to unmute you. Oh, there you go.
Okay. My question is, I'm not understanding quite what kind of a facility that the couple is in.
Oh, that's a good
You said
question.
retirement condo?
Go
No,
ahead.
I'm not understanding quite.
they're mostly elder citizens here, but it's not an elder community. It is condominiums. So what
they're
else?
in
What
is
other question?
it's a condo complex near like Township Lane Road in 96. There's lots of
Yeah,
condos over there.
between 96, between Ditch and Town Road. Yeah.
Some of those are 55 and over communities, and some of them are what's called a naturally occurring retirement community, which is there's not a restriction that you have to be 55 and over. There's not an age restriction, but for whatever reason, that those were the people who gravitated to that community. Somebody said the name of your condos, Homestead Lakes. And that area over there is a very competitive area. You almost have to know somebody. Didn't we put an offer in on the first day, right?
Right.
The funny thing about that was Lisa had given us a link that this may sound like she was not doing what she should, but she was certainly. But she also gave us a link that said, okay, if you want to look at some houses and just see what is available, what they look like, what's really, how things are listed and what the terms look like and the abbreviations, then you can see what is around too. And we can both work together if you want. And so I went through and then I got carried away and was going through a bunch of listings. I think I did about 200 just for fun. And this condo literally went on the market at late Thursday. And I saw it Thursday night at 10 o'clock. Lisa arranged a showing for us the next day and we bought it by noon.
Or made an offer. Yeah.
We made an offer by noon and it was accepted.
It was going to go fast.
And it did. And
I want to say, I'm not sure, but I don't know if other offers came in.
I think there was one offer pending.
There might have been, but we
won.
Nancy wrote that letter, you remember?
Oh yeah, the letter. You want to talk about the letter?
Well, we just fell in love with this condo so much. We thought, okay, what else can I do? You know, we really want this condo. And so I decided to write a letter to the homeowner, which I did not know her or know anything about her, and just told her how much we appreciated being able to come in and look at her house. And we really felt like it was a nice home and that it would fit our needs and was geared towards senior living with how she had remodeled it and updated everything. And that whatever we decided, that we wished her good luck on her move, because she moved to Florida. And that we just really wanted to come across, that we really honestly thanked her for letting us come through her home, you know, and look at it, and that it was beautiful. And we thought it would be great for us to live in. And
we also made the financing a little easier without any hassle where we had to wait or do anything to, she knew that the finances would be there.
Yeah.
It was contingent on that. And I think that was a major part of how you helped us look at that, and that we could do that helped as well for the homeowner to sell to us.
Yeah, so a couple of things there. And I call these things strategy. I mean, you have to be strategic in the real estate market, whether you're a buyer or seller. Those letters, so sellers, I have sellers write letters to potential buyers and buyers write letters to potential sellers. And I'll tell you, I had a couple downsized to Texas and we got, I don't know, 4 offers, I think on their house on the west side, and they wanted the one that came with a letter of the buyers telling their story, thanking them and complimenting them on their house, even though it wasn't netting them the most amount of money. So it's like, in such a competitive market, you have to really think about strategy. The letter pulls at people's heartstrings a bit, but it's nice because we all like wonder about who's buying our place, or who about the story of the seller, and this just sort of shines some light on that area. And then the other thing you mentioned, Jerry, was the financing, and I know that not everyone can write an offer for cash and close in 2 weeks, or put 25% down on a conventional loan. I understand that's not everyone, but there are strategies out there to make an offer competitive and compelling to a seller, so that you do win the you sort of bidding war that's happening a lot in our market. The other thing I wanted to mention was these timelines seem really quick, and a lot of realtors, we do this thing, and I don't think it's serving our audience well at all. We say like, oh, we sold this house with 5 offers in less than 24 hours. And I think we may have talked about this on this group. That scares sellers because you think that your house is going to sell and you're going to be homeless in 2 weeks, and you panic, and so then you just don't do anything. And that isn't always the case. You never know the other person's story, whoever, on the other side of the transaction. And there are always ways to negotiate so that the timing works out for everyone involved. Whether it's a lease back or a delayed closing or an earlier closing, or like in the case of Lois, she was able to move in before we listed our house, and we were able to make that work from a financing perspective, to where I don't think you didn't have a mortgage, but let's say you did have a mortgage, we can make it work and balance out so that you're not paying 2 mortgages, or a rent over here and a mortgage over here all in 1 month. I understand the financing piece that gets people sort of worked up and causes pause.
We had equity in both condominiums, that to a point where we're allowed, we could draw on that to have cash for the sale. So it's not normal. Yes.
Yeah, and that's not.
And it wouldn't have been normal in our history to have this happen.
Yeah, and you guys were lucky in that scenario. And also, there are ways that we can do that, even if you don't have all this equity in your house, or cash flow to make it work that way. There are ways. I'm working with a guy right now. He's not necessarily downsizing, but he's moving, and we bought his house first. We haven't even listed his house yet, but we've worked out the timing so that he's not going to be strapped cash wise. Everyone's situation is different, and it takes a consultation, which is free, to learn about your specific needs, and then strategize to figure out a way that works for you. I see Laura Roman's hand up, and then oh, hold on, Laura. We have a question in the chat from Susan. It says, how much time did Lois and the Brooks spend on cleaning out before they got help to finish the job of sorting? That's a good question. So I'll give you guys a break, Brooks, and let's go to Lois. Go ahead.
How much time did I spend by myself doing it? Well, I was only, a couple of months doing the whole thing. So I would say probably 2 weeks really hard work on my part, sorting out what I wanted. And I don't know. Like I say, the whole process only took about 2 months, so I wasn't very long. It's amazing when you start going through things, you can quickly decide this is what I should keep and this is what I should get rid of. And you have to make up your own mind that you're not going to take a whole lot of stuff with you. I have a kitchen. I can cook if and a full kitchen. I can cook meals if I want to. I had service for 16. I brought service for 6. Why would I bring all those dishes? I couldn't use them. I couldn't seat that many people in my apartment.
Oh, I do remember your formal dining room, and you had those built-ins, right?
Yeah. Well, yes, and I had my mother's dishes and some of my grandmother's dishes and all my own dishes, and I didn't have room for all of them, so I knew I had to decide which ones I wanted to keep and keep those and let the other things go. I had a friend who came in and went through the closets with me and helped me get rid of clothes. And then probably a good month I worked at it. Part of that time, the house was still in decent shape, and then the rest of the time it got pretty messy.
Well, yeah, it gets worse before it gets better. And here's a really good question for you, Lois. Well, first of all, I wanted to point out one thing. You made up your mind that you were going to do this, and you set an expectation that you weren't going to take too much. So you did that all on your own. And I just want to point out that is something that I cannot do for people, and I don't want to do that for people. I don't want to, well, I can't, it's not possible to go and change your mindset necessarily. You made that up all on your own, and you had the wherewithal and the mental, capacity to do that. And that's what we talk about all the time about, plan now, start planning now, at the time when you're able to do that, instead of having someone else make those plans for you because you can't do it, So that was a really good point. Lois, Stacy asks, does it feel like a weight off of your shoulders after you did that simplifying? And Nancy.
Oh, yes. I haven't regretted a minute of it. When it comes time to shovel snow. Now, I do miss my garage because my car sits outside. There are some garages here, but they happen to all be full. So I didn't get a garage, and that's okay. I've got an automatic starter on my car, so I'm up on the 3rd floor by the time I get downstairs. It's begin to warm up and the snow's melting off, so it's not all that bad. What else? I don't know what else I was going to say. But
I like that question, the weight off of your shoulders. It's proven that downsizing and decluttering relieves anxiety and stress. That's
Well, it really does, and it's good for me to make the decision what I want to keep. And now my daughter lives away from here. She has a small home. She didn't have room for anything, so she told me what she would like to have, and my niece and nephew came, a couple of them, and took a few things. And the rest of the things, I just looked at them and said, goodbye, find a new home.
That's awesome. Well, you have such a great attitude, and that's one of my favorite things about you, Lois.
Thank you.
And what about you guys, Nancy and Jerry? The original question was about how much time leading up to sort of bringing our team in to do that consultation, did you spend getting ready? I really like this question because we hear this a lot. Like, I just talked to a guy yesterday. Now, what do I need to do to prepare before you come here? And I'll give you the answer, but I want to hear the answer to you guys, to the question from you guys first.
If you do that.
Well, you can do it and I can.
Well, the honest, pure answer is I didn't really do anything because I have kind of a chronic back pain problem. And so I didn't want to end up in the hospital before I tried to move into my house. And so I remember something my mom said, that she used to clean her house before the girls came to clean her house. And I said, what is the purpose? That's not a good thing. That's what they do. And so that's what you all did. You came in and you looked at what we had, what was stacked up, looked at the trash. I mean, you looked at the stuff that you thought, okay, this will take this many hours. And I could see that that's how you were thinking about, because all of that helped you make your estimate more accurate of what you needed to do for us.
Yeah, the condo that we had, that we first had before we moved into her parents' condo was empty. So that was the one that you could go in and do everything, get it ready, which you did. And that we didn't do a whole lot there. You just brought different vendors in to do the cleaning or painting or any of it. And then that got ready. But in our one on Autumn Glen, it was like there was a row of 3 things lined up from front to end in the garage that were like trash,
donate and take,
and Christie's auction,
Mm-hmm.
or somewhere take.
But
we had it kind of a mess, but it's like there was a lot of trash eventually that if I didn't get there to try to save it, it was gone. That I had a tendency to want to hold on to stuff, and she wasn't. But right now, as we speak, we probably brought more things over here than we needed to, and need to do some more of that. And we've talked about that with you before, but we haven't done it yet. So,
but I think Lois had, said it perfect when she said, you get your mind set that this is what you're going to do. You want to get rid of stuff. The more you get rid of and know what you're going to take, the easier the whole process goes. And that also in turn helps the budget for the move be in a better price range, because you're not taking all of the junk and the clutter to do it again twice on the other end.
Yeah.
And it makes it easy for everybody. You don't need 2 moving trucks when you only have stuff for 1.
That is a good point.
So we were very ready to do it.
But it was like, as soon as we get anxious about something, you would give us some kind of your
words of wisdom.
Folks would give us a way out, a way of escape, a way of doing it. That, okay, that sounds good. Let's do it that way.
And one thing I did when the girls were downsizing and sorting, as they were deciding what was what before they were going to pack it, I sat at a table with, a trash bag and a wastebasket, and they would bring stuff out and say, do you want this? Do you want this? So we were all doing, and I'd say yes, no, yes, no. And it went that way for about almost 4 hours. And there probably wasn't much left to do after the first sorting session on that one house. So
yeah, when there is a third party that's removed emotionally and physically from your space, coming in to help, and you have this focused, effort on that one task, I think it keeps us from getting sidetracked. Or not like, I need to go take the clothes from the washer to the dryer. I need to, feed the animals, whatever it is, because you have these sorters here for this job, and we're paying them, and it's amazing what can be done in 3 hours in a focused, sorting session. When people are bringing things to you and all you're really doing is making a decision. Are we keeping this or is it going?
And for us, what helped was just like Lois said, our kids right now are grown and gone and, are busy living their life. They're in their 40s and 50s.
On both coasts.
And we have one in Portland, Oregon, one in Lakeland, Florida, and one in Northern California. So, and our friends are our age. So most of them, obviously you're not, but so we didn't have the extra help or a bunch of friends that you could come over and fix a big meal, have, some beer and wine and get the moving packing done. So that's why your group worked so great for what we needed.
And you had also said in that your family probably won't want your stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so that gave us the license to not worry as much about to involve them. And that's true because they've got their own places. Either they've got a place of their own that they've already filled up, or they've got nothing or no place to put it.
That's a good point. Yeah, we've talked about that in our panels before. Go ahead and ask your kids if there's anything they want, make the ask and be prepared for them to say no, or they just want one just random weird knick-knacky thing that they remember from their childhood and they have an emotional connection to. And that's typically what happens. You make the ask, but just be mentally prepared and, don't get your feelings hurt if they say, no, Mom, why would we want your chicken collection? Or whatever. That is a shout out to my own mom, inside joke. She has chickens, roosters. And I think she might be actually listening right now. So maybe she's getting a chuckle at work about her chicken collection that I don't want. Okay, so one thing we had Laura Roman, you had your hand raised. You wanted to say something. Go ahead.
I'll skip it now. We
moved
moved beyond the topic, and I love this topic. And I think that from a personal perspective, I gave myself 18 months to downsize and go through my stuff. And that the day that I moved, I was still having people come in and just take stuff. So they can be a little bit unique and even unique with what I see when people come in here, because people will oftentimes say to me, I've been working on this for a long time. I've been trying to get rid of things, but I just can't do it. So again, that third party, outside opinion is so important. So.
And their physical labor to do it.
I see you, Stacy. Yeah, that's a good point, Laura. Everyone's situation is different. Lois and Nancy and Jerry, you guys are sort of an anomaly because you did have such a great attitude about it and you made the decision and you were ready to go. Not everybody has as great an attitude as you guys. That's why you're my favorite clients to date. Some of my favorite clients, I have a lot of favorite clients, but you guys are really enjoyed working with all of you. You made it easy, a big job easy. And like I said, that's not always the case. So the answer to that question, Susan, is it's sort of whatever you want. You can spend as much or as little time on it as you want to. I think that our team can help the most when you just leave everything just like it is, tell us your vision, and let us make it happen for you. But we don't have to do it that way, but we can do it that way. And I feel like that's the easiest way to do it. But I know there's always a little bit of a control freak in all of us, and that is okay. We can still work with you. So Stacy, you had a comment.
And this goes to the emotional aspect of letting go of a lot of your things. And although I haven't downsized from my larger home yet, I do give things away, and there's been the need to simplify and clear out. And a lot of this applies to clothing and things, but what has helped me is to visualize the person who is going to get those things that I'm giving away, to visualize the joy that it's going to bring to them. You know, like when I clear out clothing, I try to give a lot of the good clothing that I still have, you know, that I have, and picture that woman that is going to get that, you know, maybe either from the Goodwill store or Salvation Army or whatever. And same thing with pieces of furniture and whatever. This is how these things can live on and give so much happiness and pleasure to other people. And when I picture that, it makes it easy to put it in that bag and let it go.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that appeals to the people who do have, you know, strong emotional ties to their things. I'm not one of those people, which makes it really easy. I feel like I'm doing what God created me to do because I am a thrower awayer. I try my best to empathize with those people who do have the emotional connections. And also, I probably have enough of the rational aspect, or not rational, that's not the right word. I just will tell it like it is, and maybe tell you some things that you need to hear. You probably don't want to hear always, but it might be what you need to hear at that moment. I always go back to this lady. I said something to her and it just came out, and there was a moment where I was like, oh, I said the wrong thing. And it ended up actually being good. But she was talking about all of her, I think they were Longaberger baskets. They were all over, you know, and she's like pointing, and she's moving into a small apartment, you know. And I said, are you going to be able to take these things with you when you die? I mean, and then I was like, oh, I said the wrong thing. But she thought about it for a minute, and she's like, no, you know, you're right. So I don't know. It is. Can
I say one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
One thing with talking about the emotional attachment, and I hadn't thought about this, and it was a neat idea. I didn't need to do it, but I will with some other stuff I found. And it was one of the girls that came to help us sort and pack, or sorting before we packed. And what she said was, if you have some things that are an emotional attachment, you don't want to keep the things, or they're really, really worn and you can't do anything with them, even to donate them, but you still have memories about them, put them together, make an arrangement of the things that you want to keep together and make kind of a display, and then take a really nice picture of it. And then you can frame the nice picture and have that as a memory of the whole entire collection. And then it can be thrown away if it's too worn out, or you don't have to worry about keeping all the things. You have the photograph as a remembrance.
Yeah, because it's typically, it's not necessarily the thing itself, it's the emotion and the memories that are behind that thing. And there's lots of different ways, and that's one way. People also use shadow boxes. There's lots of different ways, and it's very individualized because you know, our emotional and attachments are not all the same to not all the same things. So we worked through that, and we got through it. And again, it helped. I can't thank you all three enough for just having such a great attitude and allowing us to help you just, you know, get through it. And you came out on the other end, I think, probably really enjoying your new lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We need to say thank you to you for helping us.
That's right.
Definitely.
I appreciate that. I'm telling you both, or all three of you though, you guys, you made it easy, and you made it easy for us to help you. So
and another thing about the finances, that once you said that we could deal with whatever we owe you at the end with closing on the last closing, that made it okay. And we had enough equity to play with that we knew we could cover whatever it might be. And you figured it out at the end according to what you had done. And we felt that whatever you did was fair, and we didn't care because we had something left.
I appreciate that, because we did say we were going to talk about money, because people do wonder, you know, what the cost of things are, what the cost of living in a senior community like where Lois is or Marquette. And the answer is it depends. And it's not to be elusive about our pricing or anything like that, but everyone's situation is different. We offer free consultation, and we are pretty good at our estimates. I feel like we leave some cushion in there, but we try to give a very upfront, concise estimate prior to anybody making any commitments. And that is true. Nancy and Jerry, when I do let folks, when they're selling their house with us, we let them put the cost of the downsizing services, the sorting, the packing, the moving, the unpacking, the clearing of the house, and getting it cleaned and ready to list, all of that stuff. We let you pay that out of the proceeds of the sale of your house if it's there. Or we just we try to get really strategic about, you know, how that's going to go, because we don't want you to have to worry about, you know, writing checks to a bunch of contractors or managing that process.
Absolutely.
So, okay, so Julie helped me out there. I posted the link for the door prize, and she made it into a tiny URL, so it wasn't a big long link like mine. Or actually, did I post? I posted even the wrong thing anyway. I posted the handout on accident. She posted the door prize link. You can see that there in the comments if you're on Zoom or if you're on one of the live streams. If you're on a phone, I know there are a couple of you on a phone. We're recording this, so we'll give you a call after this, either this afternoon or tomorrow when we do our follow-up, to make sure you're in that drawing for the door prize. So Clear Captions is one of our sponsors, and they always do a wonderful door prize. Stacy got our representative from Clear Captions. She got furloughed for a while, but she's back. She makes those herself, and they're wonderful. I mean, they're heavy. Some of you guys have offered to help carry them out when we're at St. Luke's because they've just got so much stuff. She's been delivering them now. So if you win one of those, we'll pass along your information to Stacy so she can reach out and deliver it to you. And then we also have a $25 Visa gift card that will pop in the mail. So there's 2 door prizes, and you can register to win those by clicking on the tiny URL that Julie posted over there. And the last thing that I wanted to announce again was the community bus tour to Marquette Manor tomorrow. If you've ever been curious about what Marquette is looking like these days, and what they have to offer in terms of senior living, I just posted the link there. You can RSVP to the virtual bus tour tomorrow. Laura did one a few weeks ago, Westminster Village, that we posted on our website if you missed it. But it's a great way to take a look inside the community, ask specific questions about a community. You can't eat the food or smell inside, which are 2 popular things that everyone likes to do. But it is, I think it's a good way. Laura even had a current resident, not Lois, someone else who lives the cottages outside, who just moved in, which was really awesome to hear, you know, kind of a client testimonial there. So we'll be doing the same thing except at Marquette tomorrow. Again, I just posted the link there to RSVP in the chat box. You can also just call and leave a message at 317-731-2289. That's that Google number that is posted, I think, in the Indy Star and all of the marketing that we do. Any last questions? We have like 1 more minute left. Any burning questions of Nancy, Jerry, or Lois? I I can't thank you guys enough for being on here and taking time
We're happy to do it.
talk about your experience. And I do consider you all friends. Nancy and Jerry, we have a standing sushi date occasionally.
And
Lois,
better than COVID days.
I know. Lois, I'm going to come in there and play euchre with you once things.
Okay.
I have to say, in one tournament, I am the reigning champion with a group of people.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah.
We got some pretty sharp players.
Okay.
You might find your competition.
I'm ready. I'm ready for it. All right. I don't see any questions. Thank you guys all, the sponsors. And we'll see you back here either tomorrow or starting in January 2021. If I don't see you or talk to you, have a wonderful holiday season. I really do miss all of you, seeing your faces in person. And this Zoom alternative has been okay, but I can't wait to see everybody in person again sometime. So thank you again, guys. Enjoy your afternoon.
Godspeed. Godspeed.
See you guys.
Bye.
Okay.